So we lost the jack off of our car at King of Hammers that mounts here. Fell off the car, hit the wheel, and the rear tire flipped it over the top of the car and got lost in the desert. So now we have to build a new jack. And the jack that we're going to buy has to attach to these mounting points on the A-arms and on the rear axle. This is just a piece of tubing with 4 holes in it and the end plugged off. And what works is an RV jack. There's the jack that we bought from a local RV store. Except it's not exactly what we need. This is what Andrew McLaughlin used originally. Takes a little bit of modification. One of the things that won't work, it has a ball spring-loaded pin that will vibrate out and be lost. We'll replace this with a hitch pin where it requires a spring clip, and then that won't be lost. So that'll be the new pin. Get rid of the ball pin. The bottom piece already uses a hitch pin with a spring clip, and I like these. So we get rid of this. This is in the wrong place. This needs to be either here with another one mounted here, or just mount one low. So this is the poor man's jack. Nothing really fancy about it. Obviously we don't want to be mounting this on the car. It'd take you forever to get your car up and down. So we're going to modify this jack to use the impact wrench that we keep in the car. Doesn't work that way. So we're going to take this apart. In fact, we're going to cut this off and weld the tube directly onto the jack. We'll have 2 of these. Put one down here and one up higher, so we have our options. We don't have to spend a lot of time adjusting the jack height. It's way too slow this way. The reason it's too slow is because of the bevel gears that it uses inside. We're going to remove the top part of the jack, remove the top part of the jack. There you go. And there is a spring clip on the gear that has to come off. Just turn that around, remove the spring clip. Now we can hammer out the pin. Holds the gear in place. Remove the pin. Now we can slide the shaft out. Crank. The bevel gear. The sleeve. Don't need any of that. It's going to get thrown away. And we're left with a bunch of grease. Okay, something's holding that on. Oh, just needs to be pulled off. It's on another pin that keys it to the shaft. Now everything's slippery. Move another pin, all the washers, thrust washers, now this is a guide for the shaft. This might go back in. It looks like it's a bushing. That might stay there. Might come off. We'll see. So now I have to cut these ears off, and we're going to weld a lug nut to the top. This is the same lug nut we use on our race car, 1-inch hex. Okay, same one. We will take all this apart. I'll put this on the lathe and thread that shaft for the lug nut to give us an extra strong hold. Now, this hole that the pin was going through caused us a jack failure in the past. So we have to weld that hole up completely, so that won't be a shear point where the shaft will break. If you put enough impact on that with just nothing more than that welded on, the shaft will break. So we'll weld up that hole, thread it, weld the lug nut on, then we'll have a jack. So we need to disassemble the rest of this. Slide that off. We'll come back to this later. And that's another thrust bearing. And this pushes against the inside of the square tube, so we'll need to have that there. But for now we have to remove it so we can do the machining that's necessary. Interesting here, I'm also going to drill extra holes in between each of these holes, so we have more jack quick adjustment positions. You never know where your race car is going to end up, so you want to have more adjustment holes so you can drop the pin in, adjust it to where the car's resting in relationship to the ground. So we'll drill more holes in the foot. So I'm just going to run a threading dry over that, if I can figure out what size thread that is. I think that's going to be a 3/4 18 or something. It's a 5/8 18. Make sure you get the made in China. Absolute best quality you can get, other than American. 5/8 18. We have the die. We're good. It's going to be a 5/8 18 thread. This needs to be no bigger than 5/8. 0.572, it's well under. So it won't be a full 5/8 inch bolt. It'll be a very light cut for this, but it'll help support that nut.
Which you're going to weld on anyway.
We're going to weld it. So now we're going to cut that. So we're going to extend that out a little bit so I can grab it in the vise. Stick this out a little bit so I can grab onto that lead screw with the vise. We get it started. Try to keep it straight as we can. This is cutting oil. It's cutting very nicely. This is a fine pitch 5/8 bolt now. And it's not a full thread, but it's enough to help secure this nut. It's not a perfect thread, but it will do. Now all we need to do is fill in that hole, and we will wait till our welder gets back. That would be Kirk. We'll countersink that, weld prep it. That should work. Good old countersink. I think we're getting past the point where we can return this to the RV store. sure that's clean for the weld. Could use acetone. This is just brake cleaner. And that is ready for welding. And then we will chase it with a die. So while we're waiting, these ears have to come off. Now we're going to grind that smooth and flat.
The welder's back.
What?
The welder's back.
Just did a strut delivery to the airport on my Harley.
Yeah. Strut rebuild service personal delivery machine.
Hey, Mr. Welder, sir, we have a job for you. Not this. You need to fill in the hole.
Okay. I can do that.
We could use JB weld. And if you think steel weld would work better. Can't get the lead screw out. I was going to cut that thread on a lathe, but they've pinched the end of the lead screw. It's together permanently.
Oh,
I tried to stretch this out to pull the whole assembly out. Couldn't do that either.
we got it out last time.
We were able to get it apart last time.
Yeah.
This is the new jack. They've changed it. So I've already cleaned that up. It's ready for your weld. And then we'll
Can't
thread
slide
it.
it out this end?
Nope.
Can't get it out either end. They've pinched this end of the lead screw, so you can't unthread it that way, and they've welded this on. And we need that. This is what the thrust bearing pushes against.
Were you just cutting this thread?
I cut that with a die.
Oh. Okay.
Then once you weld it up, I'll rethread it with a die.
Oh, so the nut goes on there?
Yep.
Okay.
Nut fits.
It's not a very deep thread, but it doesn't need to be.
And that's because the shaft mounted diameter is only 570 and it should be 620.
All right, let me grab my...
So it's about 50,000 undersize for a good thread, but it'll help hold that nut on.
Okay.
I marked off the foot piece of the jack so that we have extra holes. They don't need to be very accurately placed. Just need, I want to have twice the adjustment positions as we currently have with the store purchase jack. So now that they're marked and center punched, take this over to the drill press and cut the holes. They'll be 5/8. Perfect. And we'll deburr those holes. Good. All right, and there we have it. Twice as many holes.
We're gonna go watch Kirk weld.
Okay, looks like we're picking up on the old thread.
You're gonna have to move that vise some more.
A little bit small.
At least there's no hole in it. That made the other one break off. We've made 3 of these jacks now. First one, this part broke off. Second one got thrown off the car about 60 miles an hour. And then
Dang.
we'll weld that one on and see how it goes.
So with the hole welded up and rethreaded, put the thrust washer back on. I think that washer goes on top.
I think this washer goes on top, and that goes on top of that.
There's a D hole.
Oh, let me put this back on.
Doesn't leave us much room to weld. So we've decided that the only good way to get that nut fully welded on without danger of cracking the weld, if it's only welded on one side at the top of the stud, this needs to be very close to the jack. And we're going to drill a couple of holes in it so we can TIG weld it through the nut and into the threads. Here it goes. Chamfer the hole for weld prep.
We need a washer. We're working with a metric size shaft, so we took a 1/2 inch spacer. We're going to bore it out slightly to fit over that shaft. Our 5/8 washer was way too big.
Doesn't need very much taken out because you already tried to drill it. That'll fit it. So we need to screw this back up. Probably want to clean it again since I've been handling everything with my oily fingers.
Yeah, I'll wash it off.
So we added a washer to it, so the nut isn't rubbing directly up against the stationary D washer, D hole washer.
Oh, look at that.
We'll get this to be not tight, but fairly flush, so there's not a lot of back and forth with it. I like that.
Sure. Well, now I gotta set up my TIG pedal.
All right, let's stand it up. Now we can put the impact on it and raise it up. There she goes down. And back up. And back down. Yeah. Now we'll just clean up the flats on this a little bit. Try that socket again. Oh, perfect fit. Beautiful. And cut. We need to make sure this will mount to the car. The foot will mount right here. So we will, you can see where I marked the holes. So we've already done that. So I'll drill those holes. And the other jack will extend through here, the other end, and we'll run the socket through here and extend the jack out, and it will wedge itself between here and here.
Yeah, but we have to cut that back tab off because the tires are larger now.
Yeah, we put new tires on this car. They're too big, so we have to move the back for support. So now I need to drill this out. So I'm going to pretty much eyeball it. Looks pretty good.
You got it.
And over here. That's on a bit of a slope.
You got it. Okay.
Let's try the sloped one first. Almost through. There we go. Getting close. Okay, now I gotta go faster. Just like that. Now we'll straighten it up. I think we're right there. That's true. And threaded. I think we're there. All right. We'll put a 9/16 hole in it.
Yep.
So that was off a little bit. Here we go. Look at that. Now that will make it easy to load and unload.
Perfect.
So we have to cut this off and move it for the new tires that we have that are too big.
There.
Came off nice and clean.
Alright, explain what you're doing here.
Oh, we're gonna give it a try. I don't have the hitch pin yet, but we don't usually use it in racing anyways. I'm wearing gloves because it's still hot from welding. You off the ground?
Yep.
Okay.
Rock that tire back.
Well,
Yep, tire's off the ground. Just gotta paint it up. Put it back on the car. Show it going back on the car.
Okay.
So we welded up a new tab. Hold this in. There it is.
Did I know you're going to lose these hitch pins?
It's on the car.
It came with some real wimpy ones. So I had them swap out the clips. Figured we'd carry both of them on there somehow. There it is. Might want to put some chains on this so they don't get lost, but hey, this is still warm.
Yeah, it's hard.
There we go. You probably don't want those rattling. You can cut them shorter.
Yeah, that's all right.
There you go.
You already jacked the car up with it. I think it bent the foot a little bit.